Oh my goodness. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Lisa, say something.
You literally sound worse now. I don't know what you did.
Well, I don't know. Lisa, you introduce everything and I'll be able to figure this out.
It's not even going to happen. Are we live? Jesus Christ. Oh boy. Well, hello everyone. We are live once again, like every single week of the last month or so. I have been traveling, and today is no exception. So we are literally coming live from the United Club at Terminal E and SFO. If you're around, say hi. What's up? And Kat, we are getting all kinds of feedback there. I don't know who that is. Is that you, Sudeep? No. Yes, maybe. Kat.
Who knows?
Guys,
I don't know.
we're
Whatever.
doing poorly. This
What?
is the Health Tech Talk Show. We do not understand basic streaming technology or headphones or microphones. Um, we've asked you all, we've begged you all for donations to keep this amazing show on the air, and some of you have said yes, and that's great. But we obviously need more. We need like an entire producer, a director. Actually, we do have a producer and director, and she is gone. Okay, I'm definitely getting feedback now. Both of you go on mute. I'm going to mute both of you. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
I muted you. I muted both of them. Now they can't talk. It's amazing. All right. Here she is. Here she is. Kat, unmute, mute. All right, try it again, Kat.
here I
You're
am.
up.
Is it working?
It
Is it
sounds
working?
awful.
It's working.
Sounds horrible.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Seriously?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
good. Keep going, keep going. All right. So today we have a special guest, Sudeep, who I found on Health Tech Nerds, saying really smart things. We are all, most of us are not afraid of getting fired for saying stupid things, but we will probably send him to the backstage for now, and then we will bring him back after the news show. So talk to you soon, Sudeep. And Kat, you have a little presentation here for us.
Well, yeah. Can you even hear me though?
I can.
Yeah. Is it awful?
It keep going. It seems fine.
Is it more awful than usual?
No, it's not. We're in the same level of awfulness we've ever. I'm in the United Club. Hopefully you
Okay.
can hear me. So this is just one of those days. Hello,
Yeah,
everyone.
well, I don't know. I mean, I could just like someone can read my lips. So anyway, yeah. So Lisa and I were Lisa, as everybody may have noticed, has been gone pretty much every single talk show. She's been in a different location, the airport, the United Club, sometimes anywhere, hotel rooms, we don't know. So here she is again in the United Club, which she reports is crowded and not great. And we appreciate her dedication to the Health Tech Talk Show. So
That's right.
but Lisa and I were together earlier this week at the Digital Medicine Society's Healthcare 2030 event. We were both on different panels. Her panel apparently was super hot. Mine was about nerd stuff and was not quite as exciting and thrilling. But we did get a bunch of shout outs. I know the media was there, covered some stuff. My panel was about getting data flowing so that we can use the amazing power of AI. Yay! It was super cool. I got to ask a world issue question, which is like, why is everybody so excited about fire when like no one uses it and it's been around forever? Like, I don't know, Lisa. I feel like that's like, you know how everyone says you're an asshole, you're probably an asshole. I feel like if everybody's like not using it and it's old, like maybe it's not good.
That is not what they said. First of all, I was there and I
That's
heard
what
what
I
they said. They
said.
did not. No,
That's what
yeah,
I
sure,
said.
that's what you said. That is not like what was actually said.
Yeah, no one can
Um,
give me an answer. No one can tell me why we all care about fire.
What Jill DeGraff said very intelligently was that there are different types of exchange, and very structured exchange like is only good for certain things and it's not going to meet everyone's needs, and like don't like hang your hat on it or be like it's going to solve all of our problems. The end.
Yeah,
She was very
after
smart.
she said
Yeah,
after she said fire would solve all of our problems, she then said fire will not solve all of our problems.
but she said it in a very smart way.
Well, okay, that's great. But yeah, I just wish everybody would stop talking about fire. Like,
Yeah,
I'm just kind of over it. Like, yeah,
great.
it's like making fetch happen. It's like not happening despite everyone's best efforts and like all of this PR and all of the things, and no one's doing it. It's like dumb. It's how I feel about TEFCA generally.
I mean, That's what there is to think about, Tefka. Sorry.
Yeah. By the way, I haven't heard about Tefka in like a long time.
Yeah, is it dead?
I don't know. I know, we did hear a bunch of things like um, uh, well, I was just reading these comments about YouTube, but no, like we did hear a bunch of stuff. Like, I know the Epic people have said that like they're getting the patient access stuff to work with a bunch of their partners. Like, don't you know some other partners doing that, Lisa? The patient access stuff? Aren't you friends with one of
I
like is it
mean,
HealthX?
in fact, I will be on the main stage panel on Tuesday here at the Civitas conference with Priyanka from HealthX, and I will ask her that
Yeah.
question. I will
Yeah,
ask
just
her
be like,
the
is it
very
is it
same question.
true? Like, is it true? Anyway, so
Yeah,
so what I said is like we'd be happy to talk about how Tefka does those things. I just want like real examples. Like an example to me is not that you've partnered with another company to do it. An example to me is that like it's working. Right? Like, I don't know.
yes.
Confusing in general for me. So anyway, but Tefka does not seem to be alive and well.
Listen, I mean, it's as alive and well as anything right now when you can't talk about it. As we have discussed multiple times in this show, it is very bad when you launch a program, a government program, and you can't talk about it. That is bad. I don't recommend that. There are reasons, there are complications. As we have also said on the show, we do still very much invite Dr. Tom Keene to come on the show and tell us why Tefka is really not dead or really dead.
I think his move is like, I mean, what has he said publicly? Like it's one of many options. I feel like that's like, you know, like a medium response. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But the point is, I would still love loyal fans if you all could tell me why Fire is the second coming. And if it's not the second coming, why no one else asks why it's not the second coming. I don't know. Confusing. Anyway, I would like to know. Inquiring minds would like to know. Lisa and I threw a party that same night. Here we
I
are,
mean,
looking
you
fabulous.
you threw a party, and
Yeah, but you're my friend, so
I'm a friend, and I also was a table host.
yeah, it was great. So we had an interesting person dinner in DC this week. It was awesome. It was a smaller one, so it was a sit down one, and we did Jeffersonian dinner conversation, which was the best. A lot of people walked home and told me that it was awesome that they had no idea what any of their table mates actually did, but they all like found out cool stuff about them. So that's great. It wasn't a work conversation party, but it was awesome. We had the best time.
You need to probably
Um,
clarify for the plebes, which is that a Jeffersonian table is where you only have one conversation per table, no side conversations, and we had
no
specific
side combos.
questions. We had some really fantastic questions. I learned so much about people at my table. It was so cool. We did not talk about work at all. It was just so great to get to know them. And like, honestly, like not to be like cheesy, like elder millennial or whatever, but like not using your phone for a couple hours and just talking to people is like really great. Everyone has to be doing, you have to make it successful, you have to have everyone do it at the same time because we like are all very bad at not using our phones if somebody else is using their phone. Someone picks up their phone, you pick up your phone, right? That's how it
Right.
works. And so like
Yeah.
everybody was very committed for a couple hours of like having real interesting conversations and like just shout out to that and shout out to this party and the table structure was awesome. Thank you, Kat.
Yeah. Oh, you're
It was
welcome. I
great.
do what I
It was
can.
really
The
good.
questions were also great, just for little fans so you can understand what these parties are like. It themed on your favorite smell and memories that come from that, so it was super fun. And then a bunch of other random shit. So it was a good time. No one got to say what their title was, which was cool. And yeah, the coolest thing is you can have side conversations, which is super great when you invite a bunch of random people who often don't know each other together. Everybody has to actually listen to everybody's responses. And I agree. Yeah, 2 hours of undivided attention for people you don't know is pretty freaking cool. So thanks to everybody who showed up and had a good time. And thanks for Lisa for always being unofficial team member and hosting table. Um, I think you put these out of order, but here we are speaking at the Dime Conference. Lisa, tell everyone about your panel because you also were on there with world famous Dr. Matthew Christensen. And here's this, I like love this action shot
It was
where
great.
you're like, you look like a saint administering.
I was
Ah,
dropping the wisdom of basically my big like mic drop moment, which It's not like I plan these things, just to be totally clear. Like I just talk BS, like everyone. I talk shit. And if someone asks me a question, I'm like, let me talk shit about that. And so someone said something, I'm forgetting what Renee Quache was the really fantastic moderator from the Consumer Technology Association. First of all, he pointed out that airplane mode, the standard, was from the CTA. And also he said another one that was really good. Airplane mode was a fantastic one that he's like, we invented that. I'm like, cool, that's great. Um, it's a good technology standard, airplane mode. Um, but basically, my mic drop moment was like, AI is fake. AI is a farce. And then I was like, because like without, having underlying data or connectivity to that data, it's completely ridiculous to be, talking about using AI tools in healthcare. Like that is so dangerous. You cannot just apply some consumer grade whatever without having the underlying data in healthcare. And so I was like, AI is a farce. AI is a parlor trick. And everyone's like, what? It was great.
You go,
Um,
girl. That's
it was
awesome.
great. It was great. It was reported
Yeah.
too, unfortunately, and like
Well,
mentioned by
I
many people.
I think that's great though. I think, you know what? More people need to like actually say that
That's
shit.
right.
Like
That's
fire.
right.
Like fire's dumb. Fire's like the old AI. Like no one even cares. So yeah. But we have a lot
Yep.
of stuff up. We have some interesting stuff about AI in here later about some deals that have been going on. But in general, like some stuff
Oh
happened
yeah.
nationally that was interesting. So Monday, the same day as our panels and our party, President Trump announced to America that pregnant women should take extreme caution when taking Tylenol because there is a potential link between Tylenol use during pregnancy and autism, as well as advice to administer a high potency bioavailable version of vitamin D, often given to cancer patients and those with severe GI issues, I believe, to give that to children with autism, which may be helpful. So, um, this I feel did not go over well.
Yeah, it did not go over well. The delivery was not great. I think a lot of us prefer to get our medical advice from medical doctors, or potentially ChatGPT, whatever one is most available. And yeah, didn't love this one, didn't love this one. There was I don't know if anyone has watched Love on the Spectrum. It is a Netflix show about about autistic people finding love. And there are some amazing characters and cast members of that show. And one of them is a woman named Danny. And the Instagram algorithm was serving me a bunch of her stuff over the last couple of days. She's just really fantastic. And she was like really addressing this head on as an autistic person. But yeah, just let me just say this as a non-physician, fevers are really bad for pregnant women and also for fetuses and babies. So you know what? Please get your medical advice from authoritative sources, especially if you are pregnant or you have a baby. I assume you need like more critical, time-sensitive, correct advice.
Yeah, I think that we should, in many cases, just talk to our doctors about stuff because they like know things. Lisa, I was trying to understand like
Weird.
why this announcement was even made and why it
Yeah,
was made, like why the president made this announcement and not the
yeah, yeah,
secretary.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
feel like there was like something going
Weird.
on here that maybe I'm not
Super
smart
weird.
enough to know about, but yeah. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's weird. I mean, this article here, this it's an opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal, talked about some history with uh the sorts of legal issues and people trying to sue the makers of Tylenol, maybe not being successful up until now. Obviously, getting this statement made by the president is pretty good if you're trying to go back and win your case. I'm not saying anything, it's all allegedly, but that is what this opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal was talking about. So check it out if you're interested. It's
yeah.
complicated.
Yeah, go to the Wall Street Journal. They seem to know some stuff sometimes. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
other interesting things, Lisa, I think you noted this specifically. The Trump administration is stopping the program that measures food insecurity, aka hunger, in the U.S.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, I know your comment here was don't have a lot of words for this, but do you have any words now?
I do. I mean, I think some people made some great points about, the efficacy of certain measures, right? Like, is this the right way to measure food insecurity? I do not know. Um, I did a fair amount of work with the Gravity Project, which works to build standards, fire standards around different domains of social determinants or non-medical drivers of health, including food insecurity. So there are people who know a lot about this. I know a little bit about it. I do think that it is a reasonable criticism. Like, was this the right way to measure food insecurity through the USDA? Okay, but reality is like we have to make sure that we are tracking things like food insecurity to be able to understand, the state of health and poverty and despair, quite frankly, in the country. Food insecurity to me, not having enough to eat in a country that is as rich as the United States of America, is like super duper incredibly immoral. It's like the one thing that makes me more apoplectic than anything else, right? Like thinking of people not having enough food in this country with so much food and so much
Mm,
money. It's just like that's where I get like I get deeply mad. I get deeply upset.
yeah.
Going on to like the lunches in schools. And if you remember a few years ago, there were starting to be some exposés around schools that were like penalizing kids whose parents hadn't like paid for their school meal or whatever. That kind of stuff. Just like I'll burn your house down. I'll burn your entire house down. I will burn everything down. I do not accept that
Figuratively.
as accept. Yeah, I'll figuratively,
Figuratively.
sure,
Yeah.
sure, figuratively.
Figuratively.
It makes me very, very angry. Nobody should not have enough food to eat in this country or anywhere,
Yeah.
but especially this country. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
We're
bad.
doing okay. I feel like we can make sure people are eating.
I have like a free United cookie right here. Like there's food everywhere, all
Yeah. We
around.
got a lot of food. We got a lot of food
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
Okay. So Lisa, you sent me this, which I thought was hilarious. So I think you were trying to explain this deal to me, like at the dime thing. And yeah, it basically sounds like, excuse my French here, but this is just like a circle jerk of money moving around. Like it's very
Well,
confusing.
unfortunately, you cut off the top, which the top of this is the image of a power strip that's plugged into itself, and I just for some reason, it makes me like I can't think about it without like crying with laughter because it's like the stupidest
Yeah.
thing. There's been a lot of criticism around like technology funding, VC, et cetera, and just like some of these deals that are just like some of them joke when they're like, that looks like 300 billion of like annual recurring revenue, like it's just
Oh my God.
some of these deals don't make a lot of financial sense and they're like more about like moving money around. And yeah, this is a good contrast, Emma, to like we don't have enough food. We don't have food for people, but like we're gonna launder some money
Yeah.
to
That's the thing.
for
It's just like
VC
we're just
purposes.
so like what did the investor bros say here? Like, did they just create value? Like, is that what happened?
This this is this
Did
is
we
how you
create
create
value?
value in healthcare
Oh,
and
it's
technology.
all I can say is like, I operate on like a cash in, cash out like basis. And every week we do this talk show when we talk about deals. I just think like, man, I am doing it wrong. Like I
You're
am
doing it
doing it
wrong.
wrong. Like I didn't just create money.
You're
Like
running like a cash business, and they're
yeah,
like,
I'm running
haha.
like this is like an old school bootstrap, like, make sure you have reserves and make sure that you don't spend more than you make type business. It is like so old school, apparently.
That's right.
Anyway, well, I don't know. I do think though when the AI bubble crashes, which I feel like I don't know when that's going to happen, but I feel like it's going to happen. Would you agree?
Well, so I think a lot of people believe that we are, if not beyond the peak. We are about at the peak of the cycle, right? And we're about to fall into the trough of disillusionment.
Mm,
I think of it from innovators' perspective, which obviously is in the like AI and healthcare space. Like we are really focused on what we're actually doing for our customers, not like AI, blah, blah, blah. Like I think that's where companies like ours are starting to be like, oh, let's make sure we don't overemphasize the AI for no reason, right? We're doing really interesting work, and
yeah.
AI is just one part of that. That's where you
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
That's where you see the cycling out.
Yeah, I also, I mean, valuations are very high, and I'm sure, like,
Very
obviously
high.
the Epic. the Epic eating things. Speaking of our next story here, our Epic eating all the things
Wait, you have to go back to
problem.
show Jung's
Oh,
comment here for the money
oh
hack
my
as a
God.
diagram. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's incredible. Here we
Uh,
are. Oh my God.
here
It
we
was
are.
great. I'm sorry I cut off
Ooh.
the top. That is great that being plugged into itself. But yeah, so apparently there's some sketchy
Ooh.
story. You know, the epic problem of eating point solutions is real. It's been real for a long time. I don't think they're going to single-handedly lead to the bubble burst if we haven't already had the bubble burst, but it certainly isn't great. But this is a story. I know Brendan covered this a little bit in depth and actually said that Epic just should like stick to its values and not take equity stakes. And that it makes it messy. It seems like this was messy, Lisa. It seems like this was messy.
Yeah, I mean, yikes. The thing that the scoop that was scooped in this
Was
article,
scooped.
the scoop that was scooped by Rebecca was that that Epic sold their shares in a bridge that they received. They had single digit level of equity in a bridge as part of their partner program, and that they sold those shares at some point in the last year. Um, and, you know, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it was worth a lot because the bridge had a pretty high valuation at that time, still does, I assume. They're doing very well. They are in like, I want to say it's like more than 100. So they're more than 100, it's more than 200 health systems now. It's something they had made
Yeah,
some big announcement recently. This is a big company. They're doing a lot
it's
of
a lot.
work, a lot of physicians really enjoy working with them, etc. But like, did Epic need that money? Like, what was the reason for selling those shares? They're like, bye. No
Yeah, it was
thanks.
just like it was just like fuck you.
Ooh,
We're doing our
it
own thing. See you
feels a
later.
little, feels a
Yeah.
little rough, but yeah. So that was the scoop from this article.
Yeah, that's well. I actually didn't. I mean, I'd heard a little bit that Epic did that kind of here and there, but this seems weird. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
not great.
Whatever. What are you gonna do? Yeah, and then
Mm,
what do you think of Bridge's prospects are like moving forward? I mean, obviously they're in a lot of systems, large systems, as we know. They displaced some other players like later in last year that we expertly reported on our fake news show. But like, do you think companies like this are gonna stick around with Epic having their own solution? Because it's like the problem we talk about, like what's the cheap and easy option?
well, I sure hope so because I work for one of them. But also, like, I think, a Bridge and their close competitors have started to really significantly expand into other parts of the clinical workflow. And they're going to go off the basis of we're already there. And, clinicians, physicians like working with us, and we can, use the baseline data and applications that we've built to be in other parts of this world. And again, that's like something that, um, like Innovacer and its competitors and its peers are also doing. Obviously, Innovacer specifically comes from a different perspective, but a bridge, well, again, well liked by physicians and clinicians, and so are their competitors and their peers, right? I
Yeah,
think there's, I think that there is like a definite movement afoot to like bring the internet to healthcare, right? And that means like having other options besides like the basic system of record, right? The experience is
yeah,
going to matter here. Like we don't have to be tied into these like old clinical workflows. And I think that a bridge is banking on that and maybe they'll be successful. I mean, they are successful already. Maybe they'll continue to be successful. Like
yeah. I think a bridge will continue to be successful. I think many other little
right,
companies
right.
that wanted to be like a bridge will not be successful. I
Well,
think a bridge will stand
a
out.
pathway to success has been closed, to be clear.
Right. And are you exceptional enough that you beat up a cheaper, easier situation in your
That's right.
system of record? So I don't know, but I do think they'll make it. I think there's some others that will do a good job, but obviously your company, Lisa, whatever, it's fine. I'm sure they'll be great. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. So we had some deals this week. We had some deals. So Datavant, friends of the show, Datavant acquired. They've been like acquiring a lot of companies, Lisa. Like this is one that was announced this week. Digital Owl. Um, they seem like they're doing a lot of stuff. Datavant's also big. I don't know what the strategy is here. Get bigger and then get sold. TB.
Kat, I'm going to comment, but you're going to disconnect your headphones because it is not working. The sound is really crummy.
Okay.
Just fix it.
Okay.
Fix it. Fix it. So Datavant has, clearly has some cash to spend on some of these acquisitions, which I support. that is definitely one way to grow. I think a comment was made to me earlier today, um, just generally about like, how the market values companies that grow organically versus those that grow by acquisition. And now we've lost Cat entirely. This always happens. I mean, guys, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, I'll keep going on what she was just presenting. Basically, the idea that, if your company grows from organic versus from acquisitions, that matters, and that there's a different way that you're valued in the market. Blah blah blah. So I don't know. I mean, does it matter? I DataVan has a lot of money, and they are acquiring companies. Great.
Yeah, they are
Other
acquiring a lot
companies
of
are too.
companies, which is totally cool. Good for them. Also, we have friends there, so we hope they do okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine. Oh,
Yeah, I
now
think they'll be fine. Can you hear me better?
I was just getting some feedback, but I think it's gone.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So remember Kairos?
Is that how you pronounce their name?
Yeah, Kairos. I think so.
Kairos?
How else would we say it? Kairos?
I don't
No,
know.
it's Kairos.
Someone tell
Yeah.
us if you're listening. We don't know.
Loyal fans, tell us if we fucked up their name. But so these guys have been around for freaking ever. And everybody told me they were going to exit 4,000 times 100 years ago. And someone finally bought them. And I would like to know, loyal fans, if this was a good deal. Because I don't know. Like, I feel like when a company tells me they're going to get acquired for 100 years, then they don't. Like, I don't know. But, congratulations, I think. I actually don't know this Rev Spring, but I'm sure that's cool. I always love it when we unify access with payment solutions. Like, I feel like that's maybe not what they wanted in the big scheme of things, like revenue cycle situation and access TBD. I don't know. Anyway, that's cool. And then Capital RX, this is another AI situation, but it's for benefits. They rebranded, raised $400 million. Lisa, I remember when like an A round was like under 10 million and it was awesome. Like
$400 million is a lot of money, just to be
now,
totally clear.
I don't know if this is their A round or what, but this is a big round for any letter.
It's not their it's not their A round, but it's like a lot of money to raise. Like, it's fairly shocking.
Do you remember when seed rounds were actually little?
Yeah, no, that's not the case anymore. Pre-seed.
Now seed rounds are like millions of dollars, and A rounds are like, Jesus Christ, like it's outrageous. So I
am a pre-seed, pre-revenue company, as everyone knows.
Yeah, you're into it.
Yeah, that's me. I am a pre-seed.
I know. Yeah. Innovator is like the smallest company I know. So
this is really offensive to me. I really hate it when companies use people's like proper names or, real first names. Like, that's my mom's name. It's really upsetting to have like someone name their company Judy Health. Like, seriously? Like,
I don't know. If someone named their company Cat Care with K, I don't know if I'd be super mad. Like, I think I'd be like, yeah.
My pre-seed, pre-revenue company is called Cat Care.
Yeah. Now, I will say, Lisa, if my mother was a famous labor organizer saving the redwoods, I also too would be upset that my company was all about the revenue. Dude. Like, I get that. Now, for me, it's different because I am all about revenue. So I would be like, well, at least I'm the patron saint of whatever we're doing here. It would be totally fine.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got here? So, a couple things. We do have our as we're saying, we're going to health, y'all. Like, we'll be there. We're doing 4 shows. Like, reach out to Health at Health Tech Talk Show if you want to be on our show. We're awesome. It's going to be as chaotic as you remember from every Friday and every live show we've ever done. But we are going to have a bunch of live guests. So if you're interested in being on, email health@healthtechtalkshow.com and/or Melissa. We're probably not going to get back to people on exact times for a week or 2 more, just because, because that's who we are. Because that's who we are. And that's what's going to happen. So, but do reach out if you want to be on the show. Also, if you want to fix my headphones, Wi-Fi situation, Get Lisa a chauffeur so that she can go to and from the airport effectively after drinking wine on her United flights when she doesn't get upgraded. All those things are greatly appreciated. Reach out now. And with
Yeah.
that, Lisa, anything else to say about like real life?
No, I mean, we're looking forward to seeing many of our fans and enemies, friends and enemies, I should say, frenemies, friends and enemies at Health. If you are one of our frenemies, please come and say hi and write us if you want to be on the show. It'd be great.
Oh, you know, we need to talk about right quick before we bring on our special guest, who is actually legit, and I'm very excited to talk to him. The government shutdown, over under. What do you think? What do you think's going to happen
Over.
here?
I
We'll
mean,
move him out of the way. You think definitely happening? Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
like, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the government shutdown. Um, uh, Neither side has a particular incentive to resolve it quickly. We'll just like put it, here's the thing. If either side were concerned, deeply concerned with like serving their constituents, the people of the United States of America, they would resolve it quickly because it is going to be very, very bad. But they don't care about that, either side, just to be clear. And then the Democrats are like, why would we do anything right now? Like you never compromise with us ever, and like we have nothing to lose anymore. That's the one side.
yeah.
And then the Republicans, in particular the Trump administration, are saying we would very much like to make the federal government smaller. So please,
Yes,
twist our
please.
arms. Twist our
Yeah.
arms. We're gonna do
Well,
that.
and that's what that was one of the reasons that the big D Democrats went ahead with the big beautiful bill, right, and like move things forward, is because
Yep.
they were saying, well, if you don't,
Yep.
then we're just gonna fire everybody, right? It
Yeah.
would make those terminations like really happen, and so it's happening again. I know that kind of across the government, not just HHS, there are. I think it sounds like agency heads have to come up with a plan for more cuts. And it does seem like, according to several articles read from Politico, this is like another intimidation tactic. But they do want to keep shrinking the government, so you know, maybe less intimidation, more real. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We'll see. I
yeah,
mean, again, I don't see it. I don't see it being resolved quickly. And I see it being incredibly disruptive. In particular, we talked before about the Rural Health Transformation Fund, and it is a lot of work to administer a big new program like that. It takes a long time, and the applications are due in early November, and then the administration has to actually review them um, over like less than 2 months to make the awards. It's very unclear how government shutting down will affect this. There are a couple parts of CMS that are required to stay open, obviously, that do like basic stuff like processing claims. And then also CMMI traditionally has been able to stay open because they have a separate type of funding that's not susceptible to the government shutdowns, which is extra stupid. I mean, government shutdowns were
yeah,
already like extremely stupid. It should be totally illegal, and it's so dumb to shut the government down. Like that's just so dumb. I would just say if you can't agree on a budget, it's a flat budget. Like have a nice day. But whatever. That's don't ask me, Congress. But some parts of it will stay open, including CMMI. So we'll see. But this is a lot of work. These are big new programs.
yeah. I mean, that's a really good point about the Rural Health Transformation Program. Like, it would be difficult to have an extension, right? Because by law, the funds have to go out the door. Like that's not CMS. That's like Congress made up those dates.
Correct.
So yeah,
Listen, I mean,
interesting.
again, Congress should very quickly pass a new law, which they will not do, to make shutting down the government illegal. But whatever. That's my
Yeah,
suggestion. If you are in Congress, you should pass a law.
yeah. Dear Congress people,
Do a
come on our
law.
show. Come on our show so we can ask
How a
you why
bill
you're doing it.
becomes a law.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All
Okay,
right.
okay,
That's
sweet.
exciting. We'll see what happens, America. Okay. So
We
we have a
certainly
new
will.
exciting. So, what, Lisa, tell us how you found our new exciting guest.
Yes. So everyone knows that we are big fans of Health Tech Nerds, and there is lots of great conversation happening there. And Sudeep is also a member of Health Tech Nerds. Actually, he did not start this particular thread. It was started by a guy named Zach, who is at Humana, just really like putting out some cool ideas about like, hey, these are my reflections after a decade, trying to build a VBC care ecosystem in a fee for service part of the country, and just talking about all these really huge challenges, right? Like we've talked a bit about in the last couple of months here about all the push from the administration, like move everyone towards 100% risk. Like here's what's going to work, here's not going to work, what's going to work, and just like a reflection on the history of VBC in this country. And I just thought that, Sudeep, that your comments were really interesting, and you come from a independent PCP perspective. If there's one thing we know about value-based care from what's worked so far, it's that when physicians are in charge, the results are generally better. When corporations are in charge, not so much. And so I just thought, your perspective would be great to hear in here. So why don't you just introduce yourself to our 1 million loyal fans?
Yeah, definitely at least 1 million today.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. You are on mute, unfortunately, Sudeep, because we had muted you before, potentially. Maybe I have to unmute you. Can you unmute yourself? Let's see.
Oh no.
I don't want to double mute you.
Oh,
there you go.
There we go. Can you hear me?
There we go.
All right,
Perfect.
Thank you for inviting me on the show. Really appreciate it. And, that was a very good conversation that we had on Health Tech Nodes. So a little bit about me. I started off after residency as a hospitalist physician. Around the same time, the Affordable Care Act had passed and meaningful use was coming along. And so the hospital needed somebody who could help out with meaningful use. So I kind of got recruited into that because I had an interest in computers and informatics, and that was one of my passions. So I started doing some of that work. Then the hospital system decided to move to Epic, and they needed a CMIO, so I transitioned into that role. Helped a mid-sized hospital implement Epic, still have those scars on my back up until today. Finished the implementation, went for a long vacation to Hawaii, went back to doing my hospitalist work, and then I was trying to figure out what do I do next. And I got invited to the position of Chief Medical Information and Quality Officer for the ambulatory arm of the hospital system, which was the contracting, credentialing, and population health entity. And so that's then where I then started working more on the ambulatory side on quality measures, population health, and kind of helping move our network from predominantly fee-for-service to a value-based care environment, because all the contracts that were coming out, including MSSP and the Medicare Advantage contracts, right, we were starting to move a lot of those towards value-based care contracts. So that's where I got a lot of my administrative. I learned a lot about how value-based care actually works by sitting in these meetings, negotiating with the insurance companies, and what works, what doesn't work, and how it actually plays out in real life. And after I did that for a few years, I decided, there is a real need for independent primary care. I've done 7-8 years in administration. Let me go out and try to build something that's my own. So we went out, built my own practice just before COVID hit. And so that was an interesting time. And we survived COVID, and then we've slowly expanded. My wife is a nurse practitioner. She's with me in my practice. We hired another one, and, we're still seeing patients. And, along with doing that, I continue to be part of my ACO, still on several leadership committee meetings, so very much in tune with what's going on. So that's what I've been doing on my, being a physician, working with the leadership team in the ACO. And then about 7-8 months ago, I decided, I've learned enough of what happens in healthcare. Can I share this with the world? And so that's where I started PCP Lens, to write what I've learned and be able to share it, because I see a lot of articles being published, a lot of information being put out, which comes out either from policy experts, from large organizations, from the healthcare media, but nobody's really talking about how this impacts small practices. And everybody says small practices are dwindling, and we can't find anybody. Oh, but value-based care is like this great thing that's going to save healthcare. And so it's just, you can't square those two. And so that's kind of was the impetus. I started writing about it. And, I told my ACO, like, hey, you guys are not going to be happy. I'm going to be writing about this. But they were still very kind enough. They're like, you know what? You keep doing what you're doing. You're also helping us do good work in the ACO. So, we'd love to have you here. So kind of that's where I am in working and doing all the stuff. But having said that, two things I would actually like to say. First of all, my views today don't represent the ACO. They're my own.
Oh yeah, just to be
We
clear,
understand.
anything that we
Let's
said also does
reiterate,
not
Yeah,
does
we-
not
Yeah.
represent Sudeep. That's all our opinions, not his,
Right.
not his employer. None of
Agreed.
those.
Yeah. So I'm not employed by them, but they do sort of kind of help me
Affiliated.
out. And the other thing is, if you are going to be talking about anything regarding healthcare, this is not medical advice.
That's right. That's right. Only we give questionable medical advice, and we are not medical providers. We are not clinicians, physicians.
Last Friday that we should put statins in the water. Would you agree?
Oh, I did say that. Shoot.
Okay, you don't have to answer that, but
So actually,
Wait,
let
wait,
me
wait,
answer that. So a long time ago, I read a very interesting article regarding statins. And the title of the article was, "Can I have a statin with my cheeseburger?" So somebody had gone out and built a statistical model on would we save lives if everybody took a statin when they had a cheeseburger. And statistically, they did prove that you could do that. Now, I don't think that actually works in real life, but statistics and real life are two different things. But statistically, they did prove it works.
That's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah,
Okay,
Kat,
okay.
get on the
Well,
statins.
I don't believe in cholesterol generally.
It's fine.
Anyway, hey,
This is not
Sudeep,
a Maha podcast, Kat. Don't even start.
I am vaccinated. I feel like that disqualifies me from Mahaland. Anyway, no, but okay, Sudeep, answer this question. Should we abolish quality measures?
Yes.
Ah!
Perfect.
Tell us why. Tell our loyal fans why.
So quality measures, if you think about quality, the paradigm of quality that we follow, it is rooted in manufacturing. And we try to apply that to healthcare. In manufacturing, when you try to define quality, the definition is kind of in two parts. The first one is, what does the customer really want? If the customer thinks it's high quality, it is high quality, right? That really doesn't apply to healthcare. Right? You can put a Percocets in the emergency room and everybody's going to give you a 5-star rating. So, right? So that doesn't apply. The other thing is, other definition of quality is, does it conform to a particular standard? So if Apple is designing iPhones and they say for every phone, we need a 10-hour battery life. If it meets 10-hour battery life, that is quality for the phone. If it meets 9.5, it doesn't. But that's a manufacturing component. Like, you are manufacturing the exact same thing SKU, and you need to do that repeatedly again and again to be able to sell the product. But that doesn't apply to humans. We come in all different shapes, sizes. We all have our own different ways of approaching things. So both of these aspects of quality, which we've taken from the manufacturing point, they don't apply to healthcare.
So is that true? Like, is that how, like, was that the framework for quality measures, was manufacturing?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
That's dumb.
Toyota, well, of course. I mean, it's the scientific management, like, theories, basically, that you can, manage based on particular objectives. And yeah, manufacturing is the breeding ground for that. Of course, you're totally right.
So then after that, right, Don Abedian came out with his model of what's called the Don Abedian Triad, the structure, process, outcome, right? And we all talk about we want to measure outcomes, but it's extremely hard to measure outcomes because they take decades to measure. Nobody has the time for that. So we end up defaulting on process measures. And as soon as you start defaulting on process measures, you start getting into, people start optimizing for the measure itself. They don't optimize for, the outcome. And then you start running into this whole, I'll give you an example for blood pressure metric. It's the last blood pressure of the year that counts. You can go on the campaign trail and say, like, we need to control everybody's blood pressure. We need to hold doctors responsible. But when you actually put into practice, it's only the last blood pressure of the year that actually counts. You can control the person's blood pressure throughout the year. The last blood pressure patient comes in because they have flu, and you didn't measure the blood pressure because you want to get the patient in and out, and you fail the measure.
Right.
So that's how these blood pressures are implemented.
So
if
we abolish quality measures, do we need to replace it with anything, or can we just like abolish it?
So the question becomes, right, I think we go down the road of trying to measure quality. I think we need to start with trust. We have lost trust because people don't trust physicians. Physicians don't trust patients, and everybody's become like this big corporate umbrella where you've become a widget in the whole system. Where you're seeing one patient every 5 minutes, and if you, as a primary care, you can't take care of patients, you start referring patients, and there's well-known data that one primary care in a large organization generates about 1 to 2 million downstream revenue. So that's why everybody's getting employed. Your independent primary care, you don't have the capacity to collect and submit all that data. So what do? You go become employed. And now instead of seeing 15, 20 patients a day, you're seeing about 25, 30 patients a day. And if you don't have time to think, you're doing referring more patients. So quality starts with trust and access.
And I think also importantly, like when you're employed, certainly somebody is trying to manage you and make sure that you hit your quality metrics, but there's also an entire team that does the quality metrics. I think that points a little bit to some of your comments about Aledade as an example. Aledade has been incredibly successful on the MSSP program. But I think you made an interesting comment that maybe you'll repeat here, just about how they, like, you were also saying like Aledade is great, they do great work, but they also are kind of like operating at this very particular level of like the best of the best, and they're a combination of the best of the bests, and they provide a bunch of additional infrastructure to hit those metrics.
Correct. So the way I look at, I think Farzad, like, I respect the person a lot. Like, I think he really made lemonade out of really bad lemons, that as a healthcare system, right? What my understanding is, the way this whole thing started is you go to the payer and you tell them, I have a bunch of practices. I'm not going to contract with you for fee for service. I'm going to take a risk-based contract with you. And if I save you a bunch of money, you keep some, I keep some, right? For the payer, it's a win-win. Then you go back to these practices and you say like, hey, we have this risk-based contract, physicians, primary care. You guys are struggling. You're going to go bankrupt. How about if I help you? I'm going to give you the infrastructure because I have this money from all of these investors, and we're going to give you an infrastructure so that we can collect the data and we can feed it to the payers so that we can prove that you guys are really doing good quality work. And I already know you guys are doing good quality work because independent physicians, you see your patients in the office, they get hospitalized less, you refer them less, you take care of a lot of things in-house. So your cost of care is lower than an employed physician. All we need to do is make sure we risk adjust them and we collect the quality data and submit it to the payer. And you have a business plan, right? So that's what's happening, and that's across every single ACO, right? You're optimizing on how do you collect data, and you're optimizing on your risk adjustment. It is very hard to reduce the total cost of care. All you're doing is optimizing your benchmark, which is why like value-based care at the end of the day is financial engineering.
So what do we do? Again, there's something else you said that I just thought was so, I want to emphasize it because it was amazing. You also said in this thread, you said that you see VBC as a dumping ground for SDOH.
It was so good.
Which is like, fire does not want to invest as a political football. I'd love to hear you talk more about that aspect of this. And tell me, what do you mean by that?
You have a great article too on your blog Substack about, I think it's like doctors to social workers. Like, it's like, tell us more, because I think that's the thread that Lisa sent me, and I was like, who is this guy?
So this whole started with the concept of population health, and the original concept actually came out of Canada. And the idea about population health was, how can we measure which populations are healthier, are not as healthy as others, and from a policy perspective, what can we do to support these people? Right? So what policies do we need to implement? Like, if they need healthy food, what can we do about providing healthy food? They can't exercise. How can we provide ability to exercise? If there's a lot of fast food in that region, how can we ensure that there's healthier? So, but that's kind of the gist of it. So when it got imported in the US, of course, we, being capitalist, right, we wanted to figure out how can we monetize it. So it became a framework to how can we buy and sell the health of a population in the marketplace. And then when you make it into a framework on how to buy and sell the health of a population in a marketplace, then you have to figure out how you're going to define the population. Because if population was defined in Canada as being in a particular region, now you need to buy and sell the population, like who's your population? And the easiest way to define that population is your primary care panel. And so that's what started your whole attribution model and defining, making primary care responsible. So it has nothing to do with measuring quality. It has everything to do with how can we define a population, who can we make responsible, because that's the easiest way to do it.
Wow, that makes capitalism sound bad.
So, I mean, I'm all for capitalism. I think it's amazing, right? We do a lot of interesting things, but, you know, there are certain things that we need to do as part of capitalism. And then there are certain things which we also have to think about as social goods, right? The dilemma over here is, do we consider healthcare as a social good, or do we consider that as, you know, part of capitalism? And I think the answer is somewhere in between. I think we've moved too far into being completely on the capitalism to the point of being crony capitalism in healthcare, where we need to move more towards some of it at least being a social good. And that's where under value-based care, my biggest pet peeve is, why are we pushing social determinants of health to primary care under value-based care? At a minimum, that should be a social good.
I mean, it should be, right? Like I think some of your comments were around obesity. You said that's kind of a perfect example. So could you dig into that for our loyal fans?
So obesity, in the last 5 to 10 years, there's a huge movement towards medicalizing obesity. And, you know, and GLP-1s are wonderful. Like I've used it in a number of people, and a lot of them have lost 50, 60, 100 pounds. You know, people look completely different after you put them on GLPs, but they also have about a 10% failure rate. So that's one way to address capitalism. You have these wonderful drugs and, you know, bariatric surgery. But the other way is, let's look at who really gets obese. It's people who are lower to middle income. And a lot of these people are living very stressful lives. You know, they're either single parents, they are working hourly, so you don't show up for work, you lose your wages, you don't get time off, you don't get you have a kid, you don't get time off, you fall sick, you lose your wages for that day. And if you lose your wages, the next thing is you can't pay your rents. So these people are chronically stressed. They don't have the time. We can teach them to cook. It's not going to work. What we really need is that we give them the social safety nets so that they can thrive. And if they can do that, they will be able to take care of themselves, and they'll be able to eat healthier food. The other thing is the way we design our zoning systems. We take a lot of these people in the lower income, and we consolidate them into certain neighborhoods. And when they get consolidated in that neighborhood, then capitalism comes into play. You have your large grocery stores who are not going to go there because groceries are expensive. And so fast foods tend to cluster over there. So now you have a double hit on these people because they're already stressed, they don't have time, they don't have a lot of money, and now they don't have grocery stores, and groceries are expensive. But what they have is a lot of fast food restaurants. They don't have parks where they can take their kids. McDonald's has playscapes, right? So where do you go if you want to meet up with friends and you want to have your kids play somewhere with their friends? You go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right? And then that leads to childhood obesity. But what happens under value-based care and all of these models is, I have to figure out, and I have to tell people, hey, don't take your kid to McDonald's, or don't eat that cheeseburger. But we don't have any of that social safety net.
Right. We had a guest on here. I can't recall who it was, but was making the argument in more academic terms about like how social determinants aren't healthcare and healthcare shouldn't be responsible for those. And the way you're putting it, I mean, that makes sense, right? Like, should doctors be solving for hunger? I don't know. So,
and so
I don't know.
that's the same thing, right? Should we be solving for hunger, housing, accessibility inside people's housing, transportation, right? All of those are issues. So if under value-based care, if I can see a patient because they can't afford transportation, because they're calling in that they're sick, and now they go to the emergency room, well, under value-based care, if you could have provided them with transportation, I could have seen them in the office and hopefully prevented that hospitalization.
Yeah, another example before Lisa says something smart, because she always does. My business partner and I philanthropically support Boston Community Pediatrics, which is, I think, for every dollar they are reimbursed by Medicaid, most of their patients are Medicaid beneficiaries. Every dollar that they are reimbursed by Medicaid, they have to raise 3 from external sources, right? So, and they do all the things you're saying, but none of it is reimbursed, right? So they help with transportation, they have cooking classes, they do all these extra things, they have a diaper bank, and none of that's reimbursed. It's just like the standard fee-for-service healthcare stuff is all that really works there. So, I mean, to your point, yeah, it's like, okay, well, who's going to pay for that? And that certainly doesn't seem like it's covered under a value-based care type of arrangement.
Well, no, I mean, I think actually where it's going, and the vibe and the direction from the Trump administration and others over the last couple of years has really been, we have to get as many physicians and as many practices, as many health systems under a full risk arrangement. And when you say full risk, that's code for everything that possibly is affecting that patient, that beneficiary, that person. And that means their transportation. That means making sure they have enough food. That means making sure there's accessibility considerations in their home have been taken care of. And I think what you're saying is, rightfully, like, that is truly not feasible for most folks, for most physicians, practices, even health systems. Like, we're going to fall flat on that because these are such broad ranging and deep needs that are so deeply societal and system wide that being like, you're taking on 100% risk, like, it's just not feasible in many cases. Like, it's going to fall flat. I think that's what you're pointing towards.
Yeah, and also, we're going to lose trust with people because now we're starting to intrude in their lives because it's directly affecting the system's bottom line. And what happens after that when, people stop trusting their doctors because, the doctor wants to make sure, send somebody to their house and make sure everything is safe, even if though the patient doesn't want anybody entering the house.
Right.
So and those are very, very hard conversations. And who has those? And I mean, this is part of the reason why the social determinants of health is a political football. Like, nobody wants to pay for it because there's a part of the country which is like, why should I pay for somebody else's housing? But we do know that it affects healthcare. I believe the statistic is like for every $1 you spend on housing, like you get like $7 or $8 back. But so somebody needs to pay for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be very moralistic about it, but the reality is that's not how our system works. That's not how people work, right? Even if you're someone who says, like, I don't care about Medicaid, screw Medicaid, like, you're probably not going to feel okay about a kid literally like dying on the street, right? You feel like, well, that's not good, right? So we might be like short-term fool in how we design or how we vote or how we whatever decisions we make that are considered to be political. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of people don't want someone to be like dying on the street, hungry. And there is a through line between those two things, right? So we're like either not cruel enough, which is good, we shouldn't be, or we're like, we're missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of where I think value-based care was very well intentioned, but it just built upon the population health model of, okay, now you've defined a population, then you can have the outcomes over cost model, and then, outcomes, well, we can measure outcomes. So, we should measure process measures and, and then the cost, how do you reduce the cost? Well, there's no good way to reduce the cost. So you kind of try to optimize the process measures. So, you see like how the dominoes keep falling because you can't do the right thing, so you start optimizing for the other things that make you money.
Yes. Well,
Should we abolish value-based care?
hey, Kat. Wow.
So the question is, right, like,
Whoa.
what do you do if you,
Right.
how do you optimize the system instead of using value-based care? What other models are out there? And I don't
Yeah.
think that there's a good answer.
What
I mean,
would be, I mean, with our last couple of moments here for our million loyal fans, like, what is your prescription, Dr. Bansal?
so
Tell
I've been
us.
toying around with the idea of, nobody wants to touch the RVUs. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I disagree. I disagree. I think that the administration currently would like to touch the RVUs.
I would love if they touch the RVUs. One of the ways you could do that is reweight the RVUs towards thinking specialties and reweight the RVUs for seeing people in the office. You can't do it in a single year because that's going to destroy the specialists. You absolutely cannot do that. This has to be done slowly over a period of 5, 10, 15 years to allow people to adjust. But that's the place where you need to sort of reweight the RVUs. The things that are low value, weight them lower. Things also, the other places where you really can save money is we tend to approve a lot of devices and drugs that have minimum value.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get stricter and not approve those $10,000, $15,000, $100,000 drugs and devices that have minimum value. Right? I can see the patient 10 times a day. I will not be able to match the savings that a $100,000 drug or device that is going to be put on the patient, which is low value.
Yeah, love that. Yeah. Well, I have a lot of other questions for you, but I know we're out of time. So Lisa, how should we close this out? We should have them on later.
Come to our show again. Tell us more about what you're doing. You are writing, you are podcasting also. Where can people find your information? Where can they find out more of what you do?
So a lot of it is on pcplens.com. So where I have my articles, and I also try to do a video version of that. And there is, I also post the same videos on YouTube. So for people who want to read academic, in-depth, dense articles, you can read them. But if you want something a little bit, in a lecture style, then, you have the videos.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if anyone wants non-academic content, come to the talk show. Here we are. But yeah, Dr. Bansal, I also love, I have open and we didn't get to it, but why fax refuses to die in healthcare? Spoiler, it's not because doctors are stuck in the 90s. So all of our loyal interoperability nerds, go check this guy's Substack out, all of his videos. We really appreciate it. That was awesome. Love all your thoughts and look forward to having you back.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
of
thanks
course.
Lisa for being our talent scout as usual.
Talent scout. Awesome. Bye
Safe
everybody.
travel,
Have a
Lisa.
good Friday.
Thank you,
See y'all
All right,
later.
take care, everybody.
See
Take
you
care.
later. Bye.